Yes, we should.
Okay. Very graceful morning, everyone. Myself, Nimi Menon, Assistant Professor, Coordinator of IQAC and Faculty Study Circle of Srimati K.G.Mittal College of Arts and Commerce, would like to extend a very warm welcome to the resource person, Dr. Maushmi Datta Madam, and each and every one of the participants for their valuable presence in this faculty development program on funding horizons for research projects and conferences organized by IQAC and Faculty Study Circle of our college. Now, before proceeding with the session, I would like to request Mamta Balvanti Madam to kindly invoke the divine blessings of Lord Ganpati, the god of knowledge and wisdom, and Goddess Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, by prayers. Over to you, Mamta Madam, please.
Before starting the webinar, we'll take the blessings. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhira Bhavatu Me Sada. Ma Saraswati, holding scripture, mala and veena, indicates knowledge, devotion and karma. Before initiating any karma, we do remember Ma to bless us with vision and devotion. We pray Ma Saraswati to shower her bountiful blessings on all of us and everywhere. God bless us. Over to Nimi Madam.
Thank you so much, Mamta Madam. Now, at the onset, I take it as my privilege to acknowledge and profusely thank the boundless encouragement from our chief patron, Honorable Secretary Sri Rajendra Mittalji, for all our academic undertakings. I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to our guiding light and our mentor, our director and chief advisor, Dr. Suhasini Arya Madam, and source of inspiration and guide, our principal, Dr. Shagun Srivastava Madam, and the organizing team who made the organizing of this faculty development program possible. And having Dr. Maushmi Datta Madam as a resource person for today's session, it is a great privilege for us. We are really fortunate to have you with us for today's program, Madam. Now, I would invite our Chief Advisor and Director, our guiding light and mentor, Dr. Suhasini Arya Madam, to deliver the welcome address. Arya Madam, please.
Thank you, Nimi. Good morning, one and all. Heartiest greetings to each and every one, all the participants, principals, those who are present, our principal, Dr. Shagun Srivastava, for this beautiful FDP program on funding horizons for research project and conferences organized by Srimati K.G.Mittal College of Arts and Commerce. I express my deep gratitude to our Honorary Secretary Shri Rajendra Mittalji. His actions inspire us to dream more, learn more, and do more and more. On behalf of all, I thank him for everything. My special greetings to today's expert speaker, Professor Dr. Maushmi Datta. She is a store of knowledge. Friends, having a smart brain is not enough. We need to have a warm heart to share this treasure of knowledge which is stored in our brain. There is a Sanskrit shloka, Vidya Vinayena Shobhate, means humility and politeness are the indicators of intellectual qualities. These words are apt to describe the personality of Dr. Maushmi Datta. To quote Dr. APJ Kalam, excellence is a continuous process. It is not an accident. Excellence cannot be achieved without continuous efforts. And once you make continuous efforts, definitely you are going to excel. This is what the APJ Kalam, Dr. APJ Kalam tells us. So today's topic that is funding, means funding horizons for research projects and conferences. This topic indicates that we must be inspired to work continuously for the research. And when we will work continuously for research, we will excel in our research projects. And today, Dr. Maushmi Datta, she is going to speak on this particular topic. She is going to share her expertise in this topic, and I am sure we are all going to get inspired by the knowledge she is going to give us regarding how we can raise funds for the research, how we can raise funds for organizing seminars, conferences, etc. And after listening to her, we all will definitely immediately start working on it, and we will see more and more researches happening. And it is going to be a very inspiring one. And with this, I conclude, and over to Nimi. Welcome, Maushmi, once again. Welcome.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Over to Nimi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arya madam. Yeah, that was really wonderful. Actually, we know funding is an imperative part of research, forwarding research projects. So thank you, Arya madam. Now, I request our source of inspiration and our guide, our principal, Dr. Shagun Srivastava madam, to deliver the keynote address. Shagun madam, please.
Thank you, Nimi. With such a warm and a motivational address given by our director, Dr. Arya madam, we are truly inspired, and we look forward to a very good session that we are going to have today with Dr. Datta. I once again extend a very good morning and warm greetings to one and all. Respected Shri K.G.Mittal ji, Honorary Secretary, Srimati K.G.Mittal College of Arts and Commerce, Director, Dr. Arya Madam, Dr. Maushmi Datta, keynote speaker for today, respected principals, faculties, and all other participants in this LTV webinar on funding horizons for research projects and conferences. At the outset, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to our management for their noble vision and continuous support. And my sincere wishes and appreciation goes to Dr. Datta for taking special efforts to prepare this session for all academicians. I also applaud the efforts taken by the IQAC department and faculty study circle of our college, Nimi Menon, Mamta Balwanti, and for coordinating and organizing the webinar. Also, all appreciation goes to our IT host, Professor Shubhangi Mankar, for solving all technical glitches and making this virtual program possible. Friends, the key elements which are the driving force of revolution in higher education are its massification, that is, increasing participation by all from the bottom levels to the top. And it is also the student base which comprises of divergent courses. Also, it is the generation of new ideas or knowledge which can sustain the development activities of society. No doubt, one of the most important criteria for assessing the quality in the higher education system is research and extension activities. To undertake quality research studies, consultancy, and training activities is a prime task of all academicians. Teaching no longer remains to only teaching the academics and some syllabus related courses, but also encouraging and inculcating the research culture among the students. Teaching quality will improve if the staff engages in research, and students will learn more if they come into contact with research. It is rightly said and also mentioned by Dr. Arya that quality and excellence is never an accident. It's always the result of high intention, sincere efforts, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents a wide choice of many alternatives. The teaching faculty must be a yardstick of quality and should strive to create an environment where excellence is the outcome. In this connection, what is brought forth is the focus of our discussion today, are the main concerns and issues in promoting the research culture among the stakeholders of higher education, with a special focus on funding alternatives for promoting quality research. There are many issues which we face in higher education culture system today. Mainly, like for example, it may be the poor or inadequate infrastructure for research, lack of other focus faculties which lack focus and direction, inadequate collaboration between academic and industry for society need-based education, and mainly and above all, it is the inadequate funding for research which is necessary for innovation-driven society. When we look at the macro level, the challenge is not merely in the volume of government expenditure in this sector, that is the higher education sector, but in its administration also. We are all aware of the fact that education is a concurrent subject. It is governed both by center and states, while the UGC, NAC, and NBA are involved in monitoring the quality. It leaves little autonomy to the states. The situation flips when it comes to funding. After meeting with the maintenance requirements, the states are left with a very meager amount for funding research. The Union budget of 2020-21 too has earmarked a paltry 0.7% of higher education budget to states through the RUSA. Procuring funds for research is often a difficult aspect of the research process, and it requires the knowledge of grants and other funding mechanisms. Funding allows the researcher to think about creating a new experiment, to design new instruments, and have them constructed in the workshops close by or far away. Funds also enable to hire research assistants, take technological support, and participate in conferences and many other things like testing or validating the preparation of a model, etc., etc. Today's webinar is an important exercise in this area, as most of the enlightened faculty are unaware of the process of writing a proposal for funding a research project or conference and such other formalities. It should not remain a handicap, but it should become a very smooth process and a very knowledgeable process where the faculties are truly informed about these formalities which are required so that we can go ahead with the research culture. Dr. Datta is here with us today to present a bird's eye view on the funding horizons for research projects and conferences, and I'm sure that all of us will be immensely benefited by that. Without taking much time, I call upon Nimmi to take the webinar ahead. Thank you and welcome one and all to everybody. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shagun Madam. Yeah, that was really inspiring because we know funding, I told you, funding is a significant part of research and academicians have to be equipped with that knowledge. So moving ahead, I request the participants to kindly pose their queries in the YouTube live chat box, which we will be addressing at the end of the session. Now, I invite Mamta Balwanti Madam to introduce the resource person for today's faculty development program, Dr. Moushmi Datta Madam. So over to you, Mamta Madam, please.
Thank you, Nimi Madam. Respected Mittal Sir, Arya Madam, Shagun Madam, my dear colleagues, and my dear virtual participants. I am feeling proud to introduce this great personality, Dr. Moushmi Datta Madam. Her qualifications are MSc, PhD in Geography, MBA, and another PhD in Management. She is a PhD guide in Geography, University of Mumbai. She is presently working in Nagindas Kandwala College as professor in Geography and vice principal, has teaching experience of 26 years, has technical skills, educational technology, remote sensing, GIS, and GPS. She has published 85 papers, co-edited 8 books, authored 1 reference book for geography, and 9 textbooks. And research pursuits are, she has double PhD, 1 minor research project, UGC sponsored, 1 major research project, 1 industry consultancy project, 2 minor research projects, University of Mumbai sponsored, 1 interdisciplinary project, sponsored by Maharashtra State Commission for Women. Her international pursuits are: she has presented papers in Middlesex University, UK, Pennsylvania University, USA, Princeton University, USA, is part of the panel selected to visit King's College, New York, Elizabethtown College, Philadelphia, George Washington University, Washington, D.C. Also presented papers in Bangkok University, Delaware University, USA, part of the panel selected to visit Florida University in Orlando, USA, and selected by NK College to visit USA and Canada for finalization of MOU in 2017. Madam has organized more than 20 conferences, workshops at national and international level. Madam is the coordinator for IQAC, RUSA, ISO, UGC add-on courses, NAC accreditation, MA Geography, and is the convener of attendance, mentoring, director of incubation center. Madam is the life member of 7 national professional bodies and annual member of 1 international body. Now coming to the Madam Awards. Madam has been awarded Best Ensemble Faculty Award in 2012, Best Researcher Award in 2013, and Award for Contribution in Research in 2013 by Indus Foundation, USA. We are very blessed to have you, Madam. So, hearty welcome to you.
Thank you.
Please, over to Maushmi, Madam.
Thank you, Mamta Madam. Good morning to all present virtually today. Respected Arya Madam, the Director and Chief Advisor, the Principal, Dr. Shagun Srivastava, and Mrs. Nimmi Menon, the Coordinator of IQAC and Faculty Study Circle, all the faculties of Mittal College. I'm deeply honored and privileged to be here today and speaking on the funding horizons for research projects and conferences. And to Arya Madam, your words were really a source of motivation to me, and I'll be giving my best to have the best of presentations in this webinar. So I take a moment now to share the screen and start my presentation of today. My screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yes, thank you. So I start today's presentation on the funding horizons for research projects and conferences. Also a very, very untouched topic of finding out a best funding horizon. But at the end of the webinar, definitely we will try to find out some goal to our dream. My presentation flow will be just finding out the funding agencies which we have for the research projects. Now, all funding agencies may not be very suitable for us. So I have tried to common funding agencies which we as faculties can apply for. We will be touching upon the funding agencies for the conferences, which actually are more or less same, who funds for projects, the same agencies funds for conferences as well. The next part of my presentation, which is the most important one, is a structure of a proposal, which can be taken as a model or a roadmap by us whenever we apply for any research project, to any university of the world. And as researchers or as academicians, it's very, very common to make some silly errors. So we will try to touch upon those errors. So the next time when our project goes for funding, it is errorless and is the best. First, I tried to touch upon the funding agencies for bodies at the international level. Now, I have jotted down some of the funding agencies here, like the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Asian Development Bank. Although these international funding agencies mainly cater to commerce, management, and economics, and not very suitable for other social science researchers. United Nations Development Program, World Trade Organization, Ford Foundation. I'll come into Ford Foundation at the local level in my later part of my talk. United Nations, so that's UNESCO. We also have International Food Policy Research Institute, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and so on. I have also provided the websites for each and every funding agency. So you can look upon the websites and see the timing of applying for the research projects, and you will also get the format in which you have to apply, and what type of a format that we are coming to it in the later part of my presentation today. So these are the most common international bodies which generally fund for projects. But if we are new in research, we are just starting our search of knowledge in research, it is better if we go for national and state agencies first, get a proper knowledge and idea about research projects, and then apply to the international bodies. In India, there are several ministries as well, which provides funds for mainly research projects, like Ministry of Ayush, Ministry of Environment. Ministry of Environment is very, very common, providing projects, funding for projects. Department of Science and Industrial Research, Ministry of Food Processing, Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources. Now, let me point out here, as I'm mentioning about the funding agencies, I think most of my friend participants, we belong to commerce or management or from arts. I think science faculty will be a bit less. But funding agencies are always more for science and much more lesser for commerce, management, and humanities. But by this, I do not mean that it is impossible to get funds. It's easily we can get the funds, but the options are less. And when options are limited, we have to be the best in our field. And that is why this webinar is there. Ministry of Power, Central Power Research Institute. We have the Ministry of Water Resources. Ministry of Water Resources actually has lots of fund with them. Department of Education, Science and Technology Application for Rural Development has also got quite a huge amount of funds for giving for projects. Science and Technology for weaker sections, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Labor, and now another ministry is becoming quite famous, that is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So actually there is more intentions of working for the weaker sections now. And that is why Ministry of Tribal Affairs is also funding a huge amount of money for research projects. So anyone, any of the participants who are coming from a social science background, Ministry of Tribal Affairs can be really, really beneficial for you. The national bodies which we have, which is very, very near to us, and it's very common to us, very commonly we hear them, that is University Grant Commission. UGC is the most common one of them. We will also look into their formats now. Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, that is CSIR. We have Indian Statistical Institute, ISI, for statistical researchers, the mathematicians, the statisticians, they can easily apply here. Indian Council of Social Science Research has ICSSR. It has become very, very important now because government has decided for all the policy implication projects, it will be routed through ICSSR in different names. So ICSSR is a very common funding agencies. Reserve Bank of India, for my economist friends and commerce friends, Reserve Bank of India is also providing quite a lot of fund. National Council of Applied Economic Research, National Institute of excuse me, Public Finance and Policy, Institute of Economic Growth, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library. This is mostly for historians and the librarians. Indian Council for Cultural Relations, Indian Council of Historical Research, Indian Council of Social Research, Indian Council of Philosophical Research, Department of Science and Technology, and another national body which is really coming up, which has got lots of funds for project, is National Commission for Women Research and Studies Cell. So these are some of the national bodies where the websites are also provided. You can definitely go and look into it, and I'm sure you will find the best funding agency for your project. At the state level, it's always better, as I said, to start with state level and national level. University of Mumbai. University of Mumbai, it's very easy to get a project, although the funds are very, very less, but it is quite easy. So I think when we are unexperienced, we do not have the feel of a research project. The best platform where we can apply for a research project is University of Mumbai. And University of Mumbai has a main motto to bring up the untrained researchers. So I think this platform is fantastic for the first time research projects. Even Maharashtra State Commission for Women, every July they come up with proposals, although it is not much advertised, but every July it comes out with proposals so that people can apply everything related to women and children. This too is a very good platform for the researchers. So for the first time researchers, I will always say that state level, national level are the best place where you can showcase your research as well as you can gain activity. It is two ways. And then we should go for the international bodies. There are several NGOs and private agencies as well who provide funds, although in a limited amount, but still they provide fund for research projects. They not only provide fund for research projects, but they also try to travel grant also is very, very easy point. They provide lots of travel grant. So Lady Tata Memorial Trust, they have a proper website. You can go into it. But Lady Tata Memorial Trust mostly actually the first funding is for medical science. But still, for social science research also, they are coming up now, and travel grants are very, very easy by which you can get, especially they prefer women candidates for travel grants. So this is a very easy way of getting grants for travel, for conferences and symposiums. Ford Foundation, I mentioned Ford Foundation at the international level, but here I would like to mention Ford Foundation at the very, very low level, which mostly caters to India, Sri Lanka, India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. So Ford, if you have your project which is focusing on gender or some ethnic justice, or it is related to some governance, I think Ford Foundation also will be a very good avenue from where you can get the funds. So we find that getting funds is not very tough, because there are innumerable number of agencies which are there all over the world, all over our country, at our state level as well as at the local level. But the point is that our approach should be correct. The most common ones, which is from where we get the funds, is the UGC, because and at present these common funding agencies, they're coming out with a policy that they want to stress on a particular point, and they're inviting projects on that particular point only. For example, now UGC has announced the STRIDE scheme. What is that STRIDE scheme? The STRIDE scheme, mostly it focuses on transdisciplinary research. So if you have anything, idea of transdisciplinary research, what is a transdisciplinary research, by the way? A research which is participative in nature, and the research which really solves the problem of the society, that is a transdisciplinary research. So if you have a project ready for a project dealing with such topics, which is trying to solve the problem, of the society, definitely STRIDE is the best way by which we can apply. Even my friends from environmental science or from geography, Ministry of Environment and Forest also has quite a lot of fun. Obviously, here your project should be totally dealing with ecology. So it becomes very, very specific in nature, but the friends from geography definitely can think of MOEF also, because they give quite a lot of funds for research projects. As I said, ICSSR is coming up in a very, very big way. If you have to have a minor research project, we can easily apply it in our Kalina campus. They have an office. But if we want to apply for a major research project, in that case, we should apply to New Delhi. And it has a very friendly website where all the clauses, all the formats are available, and we can easily go through. And for a major project, you can get funding up to 15 lakhs as well. I think a 15 lakh for a social science research or a commerce research is more than enough to fulfill your project, to solve your project problem. At present, ICSSR has come up, as I said, nowadays all the policy researchers of MHRD, they're taken up by ICSSR. The routing is done through ICSSR. So the most recent scheme which the MHRD has is Impress. Now through Impress, actually lots of funds are being disseminated, and the formats of all the research funding agencies, which I said, is more or less the same. Little bit here and there it can become, but more or less it is the same. So Impress is actually a very prestigious platform. So all the social scientists, for all the all the faculties who belong to commerce or who belong to, even from accountancy, those who belong to law, those who belong to economics. So Impress is a very, very clear ground, and the websites actually tell everything about the project here, about what should be the format of the project. You will find in all the funding agencies which I have mentioned now, be it international, national, or be it a state level, everywhere the funding agency looks for only one motive. What is that one motive? That is research integrity. As we take funds and do the research, we become accountable. Our college becomes accountable to the funding agency. Similarly, a funding agency also becomes accountable when they provide fund to us, because they are, after all, answerable to the government. That is why I call the funding agencies has to be responsible for conduct of the research. That is why the funding agencies are so strict when it comes to money, when they want to invest money on you. So they always think thrice, should I give or should not give? So you have to bridge the gap between this should I and should not. Sometimes they provide you the money, but there is a lots of cost for self-correction. What do I mean by self-correction? You, with due respect to all the researchers, you will find there are many projects which have come to the researchers, but they could not complete it within the stipulated time. So when you're not able to complete in a stipulated time, obviously getting fund for your second project is totally no, because you get a bad name there. Not only that, not only time, moreover, whatever your objective was, if you could not fulfill the objective, even in that case, you find that getting a second fund from the government, it is impossible. At the same time, the funding agencies also feel they have invested their time, they've invested their money on a researcher who could not do the research properly. So that is why, again, they continuously monitor you, that how you will be able to, how full, and who will do this monitoring. Your monitoring will be done at the first place by looking at your format, by looking at the proposal. If your proposal is proper, if your proposal is not loosely made, they will get the confidence. So getting confidence is the first thing which you have to gain from the funding agency. Then only funds are possible, otherwise not. So your research, because you are not going to explain your proposal, there is a proposal which is going. So your proposal should be so heavy, the proposal should be so grounded that they should not have a second thought of providing you money. Not only that, you should be very, very transparent once you get the fund, very, very transparent about the use of funds. You should always think that it is the public money which has been invested in you so that you can do a research, so that the conclusion of the research can be incorporated in the policy, and that policy can be implemented in the society. So if these three things you are able to meet, your project is through. So you should be proving you're responsible. You should be proving there will be no cost of self-correction, and you should be very, very transparent. When you actually fulfill these 3 points, this point of should I question mark will vanish. It will be they should invest in your research. So please do think about it. Now, it's not only research projects which can get funded. When we are working in an organization, we have lots of conferences, seminars, workshops, training, training programs, which also can get the funds. And here, mostly the funding agencies which I mentioned now, they are more or less the same for funding for conferences, seminars, and workshops. Just like you provide the theme of your project for a project, for a research project funding, similarly, you should be very clear in providing the conference theme. What will be the outcome of that conference, how the conference ideas will be disseminated among the participants. You should be very clear on those, and also the budget which you make. I'll come to the budget part later on. Also the budget which you make, it has to be clear. So then getting money for conferences and seminar becomes easier. Just a personal experience I'd like to share here. Getting funds for a research project is much more difficult than getting funds for a conference and seminar. The simple reason is that because conference and seminar means the fund is got by the organization. But when you're getting the fund for a research project, that means as an individual they're relying on you. So that is why getting money for conferences becomes much more easier than getting fund for a research project. And again, a minor research project, you can easily get a fund. You know, the government can easily lose 50,000 to 1 lakh. But when they're investing 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 13 lakhs, they will never ever invest unless and until you fulfill the above 3 points which has been given in the previous slide. We also get research grants for postdoctoral studies, for career development schemes also, as well as we get it for publishing a journal, publishing a book, publishing a periodical. Also, we get funding from the same agencies. As I said, it's the agencies are more or less the same. But if you look at it, the most common agencies from where we get funding for workshops and seminars are UGC, NABARD, ICSSR, Impress. Maharashtra State Commission of Women is every year they give lots of funds to colleges for organizing conferences and seminars on gender, on women. So these are very, very common funding agencies from where your college and you can easily get the fund from. Till now, it was very, very general about, we just learned about the funding agencies internationally, nationally, state level, local level, and so on, and how easy it can be getting funds for your conferences rather than your research projects. So I mean to say, what is the hidden meaning of this? The hidden meaning is that we have to be very particular when we write the research proposal for our individual research, for a research project. And when you get a research project, it not only gives a confidence, it not only, it's an academic benefit to you. As an academician, doing research is an academic benefit. It is a different type of a pleasure which we get. Not only that, even your organization is benefited a lot because it shows the intellectual development of the organization. So we as academicians, all of us are working in some college, or we will be working in future, the young participants who are there. So we should be actually the proposal format, which I call it a roadmap, which I call it a model, it actually should be at your fingertips. Then only we can do our research in a proper manner. So the main thing which you should understand when you write a research proposal to get fund is that everyone writes a good proposal, all of us, because all of us are very educated and we know our subjects very well and we know how to write. That is the main thing. And as teachers, we know quite a lot. So every one of us know how to write a good proposal. But a good proposal can never get you funds. It has to be a great proposal. So I always say there's a huge difference between good and great. So when you want to have a great proposal, you need to follow a format, which we will be learning today. And if you follow this format, I assure you that your great proposal will definitely fetch you the amount which you need for your fulfilling your project. You should choose such a point, such an area which is worthy to study. There is no point researching on something which already 1001 people has already studied about. No, it has to be very, very interesting. My science friends from science faculty, they can think of some scientific advancement in your subjects or some application oriented. For us, the social scientists, actually social scientists are much more better placed now, because most of the research funds now, whatever is getting, it is all a policy based. That means your research should come up with such an idea, your research should come up with such a solution which can be beneficial to the society, so that the ideas can be implemented in the policy. And that is why now social science research has become very, very important. So please pinpoint on your subject area always, and pinpoint in a very narrow field. Your subject area is so vast, so you should always try to pinpoint in a very, very narrow field, a small thing, a very specialized thing, so your proposal gains ground. So and now we will try to understand from where to start this research proposal. No, we are not confused as we are seeing in the picture. We will be very, very clear, and formatically we will be doing how to write our research proposal, which will be very narrow. By narrow, I mean very focused, very narrow, very focused, very important, so that we can produce a great proposal at the end. Generally speaking, when this concept of research proposal was being talked in the Western countries, this concept first came in the Western countries, they developed a very ancient structure. You know, an oak leaf is supposed to be, it is a sign of strength. It is a sign of something noble. It is a sign of something pure. So they felt a research is something which is pure, which is noble. No one has touched and you are touching upon it. So they actually compared a research with the oak leaf. A oak generally has got 7 leaves. General oak leaf, if you see, has got 7 tips. So they said, just like an oak leaf, there should be 7 points in a research. This was the way by which the ancient researchers remembered how a research proposal should be. They remembered a word known as tie polymer, which is the 7 points. T stands for title, number 1. I stands for introduction, which is number 2. P stands for problem statement, which is number 3. O stands for objective, which is number 4. LI stands for literature review, which is number 5. ME stands for methodology, which is number 6. And R stands for references, which is number 7. So they felt if the format, any format follows the 7 points one after the other, it will, at the end, the net result is a fantastic research proposal, which can easily get you the grant, the fame, the name which you want. But now we no more compare with the oak leaf. Our research has become much more complicated in nature. It is no more confined within the 7 points. Now we compare our research. Our research is something which is unique, which tinkles in your CV all the time. So it is just like a star. What type of a star? It is a 10-pointed star. That means there should be 10 points in your research proposal, and then only it can become, no, not a good proposal. It can become a great proposal. Let us find out. What is number 1? And none of the points you can leave out. If you leave out 1 point, your linking from 1 point to the other loses out, and you fail to make your funding agency understand what you really like to research on. So each and every point is very, very important. Number 1, project title, abstract. Number 2, introduction, conceptual background. Number 3, problem. Number 4, research objective, where I've included the research questions and hypothesis. Number 5, review of literature. Number 6, research methodology. Number 7, innovativeness, which has been added. It has to be there. You have to prove that your research is very, very different from others. You are unique in that area, and then only funding will come. Otherwise, no one will invest money on you. Implications, relevance of the proposed study, proposed budget. What is the budget of your proposal? The time frame, reference, very important, plagiarism. All these 10 points has to be catered. Then only a research proposal becomes the best, becomes a great proposal, which can give you the money for your research project. Let us study one by one. Number 1, project title. Now, first thing when I say project title, you should never start your research with a proper title. You should start your research with a working title. This is the area where I want to study. This will be my focused problem which I want to study. Write your full proposal, then come back to the project title and actually then from the working title, then you clearly write down what should be the title of your proposal, because the title is a very challenging point. The first thing the research funding agencies look is a title. It should be brief, clear. It should tell you what is the research about. It should always be lesser than 15 words. That is the rule of writing a project title. Very, very meaningful. As I said, 15 words is the maximum. It should be in that 15 words. You should tell the essence of the essence of your research, what you're researching about. So I call it a mini abstract, although not an abstract. The title should be such as if it paints a picture about the proposal. The reader comes to know, yes, this might be my proposal. It should be so catchy in nature, but that does not mean you will use some jargons and some technical words which people do not understand. No, very, very simple, yet interesting. Yet it should be easy to remember. And because this project title, it is read the most. So you should be very careful when you're choosing the title. And this is the area where we actually neglect the most. So we can't do that. Let us see some examples of project titles. Like number one, red-haired musicians and their preferences for musical style. Why this point "and there" is coming? Red-haired musicians and their preferences. We can be very straight in that case. Music style preferences of red-haired musicians. Be straight and simple. Another title, African politics. Now, what of African politics? African politics is a huge thing. I told you your title should be very, very focused. So just African politics is nothing. You should be very clear, what are you studying of African politics? Again, a study to investigate the education level of so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. You are not writing an essay, it is a title. So please don't use the words that a study to investigate. Just start direct, the education level of so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. So when you make a title, read and reread again, unless and until it sounds like a music in your eyes, you are not completed with that project title. So this is very, very important. So what should we remember about making a title of your project proposal? It should always be a working title. It should capture the attention of others. It should condense the content. You can, at least the funding, the funding agency will understand what is the content of your research. And your title should be such so that the funding agency can easily differentiate from your other proposals. So when they will differentiate from the other good proposals, your proposal will become what? A memorable one. Yet very, very simple, but at the same time, a great proposal. So never ever be overly descriptive. A study to investigate, no. Never ever use fancy words. Be very, very simple. Not at all. A complete no-no for longer than 15 words. Not brainstorming titles. Don't make your title to be so tough that everyone has to put their brains in to understand. The funding agency will not invest such a lot of time. Not matching with the sponsorer. Yes. See, just now I said that people nowadays, they're asking for policy researches. Okay, so instead of giving a policy research, you give a research which is dealing with how fast the light can flow from one planet to another. It can never become a policy research. So always you should prepare your research proposal in such a manner it should match with the main theme of the sponsor. So now we know how to write a project title. Now we are coming to the abstract. We have a working title. So let us see what to write in an abstract. That is the second tip of my 10 tips of the star. Not the second tip, actually it's a part of the first tip, I'm sorry. Yeah, the abstract actually tells you about the subject area. In the abstract, the objective of your research has to be included, which I'm coming to it later on. A few lines of methodology has to be included. Expected results and their significance has to be included. Resources required, amount of money, manpower, what you require. Always remember that the abstract is the first as well as the last impression. About abstract, I would like to pinpoint here the main difference. Now, writing an abstract of a research proposal and writing an abstract for a research paper is entirely different. When you write for a research paper, that means you have already conducted the research. So in that case, expected results will not come, but the results of your paper will come. In a research paper, generally you are not asking for funds. So please don't write about the resources required. So in a research paper, when you write an abstract, it should be a subject area, it should be the objective, methodology, results, but always it is the first and the last impression. And abstract is something which is generally written at the last. You know, many conferences, with due respect to all the organizers, with all the academicians present here, in many of the conferences, you will see that how the conference convener behaves. Acha, aapka paper nahi hua, kuch problem nahi hai, aap abstract to bhej do. We also say, abstract mein 1 ghanta mein bhejti hu. Until today, I could not understand how, without doing the full research, how do I write an abstract? It is very difficult. It is impossible to write an abstract. So that technique I don't know, so I'm not sharing with you. Generally, an abstract should always be written in third person. It has to be passive. And as I said, it has to be written the last. So when you are making a research proposal, you keep a working title and you keep a working abstract. As and when you finish the writing the proposals, you keep on adding the abstract. Generally, the size of the abstract should be 10% of the size of the research proposal. So if the research proposal is of 2,000 words, you should make it of 200 words. It is like that. Generally, the size proportion is like that. So we know the first tip, as I said, the project title and the abstract. Now we are coming to introduction of the research proposal, what to write in the introduction. Now, the introduction of the research proposal, I give an adjective to it. I call it a gentle beginning, because the introduction gives you the background of the study. The introduction tells you why it is essential to study the topic again and again. The introduction always write in third person, as if an outsider is looking into it. Your introduction should be should be so interesting, as if you're preparing the readers to come along with you, to join you in your journey of research. That is very, very important. So you have to catch the attention of the funding agencies. See, this is the unique research I'm going to carry on. Come and join in that journey of research. Fund me in this journey of research and be a part of my research. So that is what you have to do it. So only writing an introduction is not enough. In an introduction, you have to add some conceptual backgrounds. Let us see, what do we mean by this conceptual backgrounds? Now, sometimes in your research, you might use some theories, some theories, for example, those theories can be stressed upon, that why you're using this theory. Not only that, every research has a why to answer, that why you're making that research. So that why to answer should be put in the introduction. And not only that, you have to say that your research is so important that it requires urgent attention, and that is why you are actually doing this research. So your introduction should always have the concepts which you want to incorporate in your research. Your introduction should always answer to why you're doing this research, and your introduction should be made it so interesting that you tell the funding agencies that the research which I am doing requires urgent attention. It will solve so many problems, and that is why it is very essential to fund me on this research. So we know the title, the working title, we have the working abstract, we have the introduction, and in the introduction, very smartly, we have added the conceptual background as also the why of that research. Now we are coming to the problem statement. important. A research is nothing when you actually try to solve a problem. You take up an issue, solve the problem, provide a solution. That is called research. Research is not something very, very complicated. No, it is we who make it complicated. It is something very, very easy. Your problem can be as small as a problem of a nearby slum. Mumbai is a place of slum. A problem of a nearby slum. Your problem can be as massive as nuclear science. You know, a problem, measurement of problem is not the important thing. The point is that you have a problem, you solved it, and that has benefited the society, that has benefited the government, and so on. So a problem is very, very necessary. If you cannot prove that you're trying to solve out something, no, research is not something, they don't want readers in a research that this is the idea I have read, that is that so many books I have read. No, no, no. They don't need readers. They need the technique by which you solve a problem. So a problem statement is very, very important here. So the problem statement, I always call it the core of the research. Now you have already extracted the funding agencies, you know, you have already sown the seeds of interest about your research from your introduction. So now you are bringing them into the problem, the core of your research. So it tells us why you're doing the research. And already that why we have started writing in introduction, but here we will be much more precise. So always remember there must be a problem, and that problem we are trying to solve it. And I always feel this is the most excellent section of a proposal. If you are able to understand, if you are able to make people convinced that the problem which you are dealing about is really a problem which needs to be sorted, your research project is through. For example, you have a topic called untreated sewage causes waterborne diseases among the dwellers or among the slum dwellers of Mumbai. So in simple words, what are you dealing about? What is the research dealing about? Slum dwellers. What is the problem? The problem is the waterborne diseases they are having. Why are these waterborne diseases? Nimi, you like to tell me something? Can I continue? Yeah. So waterborne diseases, and why these waterborne diseases? It is because of the untreated sewage. So you have to make the funding agencies realize that this waterborne diseases is a problem which is causing a problem to the overall health of the slum dwellers. And why these waterborne diseases are coming? Because the sewage is untreated there. So untreated sewage is a great problem, and you are trying to deal with that problem. How we can deal with the sewage which is causing such a lot of problems for the slum dwellers. So it is very, very important, because after all, you're dealing with the health of the slum dwellers. So so you have already proved that this problem is it is not only a unique problem, it is an important problem, and you know the way by which to solve it. So what will happen? The funding agencies will realize, yes, this is a severe problem which a researcher is trying to solve it. So let's fund the project. So from where you get these research problems? From one fine morning, you just can't get up and you will realize that whatever I'll see, that will become a problem. No, that cannot become a problem. You have to think to find out a research problem. It should be of your area of interest. There are so many problems going around, but it should be of your area of your interest. You should be confident with the knowledge which you have. You will be able to solve that problem. Like the coronavirus problem which you are having, there is no point me taking up as a research problem, because I don't belong to medical science. I will not be able to solve the problem. So your problems, there are many, but you should be very, very choosy. You should have a proper base to solve that problem. So your problem can be any theory. Your problem can be day-to-day problems. That is very, very important. Or your problem can be research studies. We study so many published things, and be fine. There are so many issues. You always question, why did the author speak like this? Why did the author study it in this manner? I can take up the same topic but study in some other manner. Even that can become your problem. For the faculties, some science can, any innovation in technology can also become a problem. So a problem is roundabout everywhere, but you should be choosy. It should be backed by your subject. It should be backed by the knowledge which you have. Then only you can choose a problem, because you should be very, very confident about your problem. You should be very clear about your problem, and you should know the method by which you can solve the problem. Take, for example, I belong to geography, and I can see that population expansion is becoming it is a problem in Mumbai city. You don't need to be a geographer to understand that. All of us know that. Okay, and the urban area, the Mumbai's urban area is also expanding. How it is expanding? It is taking the areas of the surrounding agriculture land and converting them into residential houses, making new town, providing facilities. So this, I feel, is a problem. Why this is a problem? Because the total area under forest is slowly decreasing, and the area under forest and other facilities are increasing. And I find that it is very essential to analyze this change. So this can be a problem. Again, if I am very new to research, I take up the whole Mumbai. Why whole Mumbai? I take up whole Maharashtra. I find out from whole India that which are the forest which has been converted into residential houses. My research will never be completed. I will land nowhere. I will just draw a conclusion that research is very complicated. It is not my cup of tea, and research and me just doesn't go together. You have to choose a small area first. Choose a small area, study that small area, and then only you can go to bigger areas. For example, here I have chosen Raigad. Full Raigad is also a huge area. So I have chosen a very northern part of Raigad. So let me study this northern part of Raigad. Let me find out from this part only that how much area was forest and how much area has been converted from forest to other settlement area. So when I focus, my focus should be just like, Arjun ka focus. It should be like that. When my focus is pinpointed, my research, my problem also becomes very narrowed and focused, and I'm easily able to fulfill that. So as I said, we should be very choosy about a topic, and it is just like we take out a small slice of cake from a very, very larger one, and I try to research on that. I have tried to research only on northern part of Rajasthan. For example, I am interested in researching on pollution, but whole pollution becomes such a huge thing. So I will research on maybe a certain aspect of pollution, maybe acid rain. Again, all over the world. It's such a huge thing. So I will try to focus acid rain in Northern Europe. So my research is becoming much more focused. So friends, always in a research proposal, your problem should be very, very focused. Unless and until you have a focused problem, you can never develop a good methodology. If you cannot develop a good methodology, you will never be able to find out a solution. A research without a solution is just a zero. So we know a project title, we know an abstract, but we have just made a working title and a working abstract. We have written the introduction, and we were very smart in introducing the concepts which we'll be using, and then why of research we have put there. After putting a little line of why of research, I've come to problem statement, and I have stated that this is the problem, and this is the problem I am trying to solve. So I am now saying that how my research is so very important. From that problem, I will try to find out an objective. Everywhere you should write an objective, 1, 2, 3, 4 objective. At the end of the research proposal, you should write that this is 1, 2, 3, 4 I will try to solve if funds are provided. So the objective should also be just like Arjun when he saw the eye of the fish. So Objectives. So what is objectives? It is an aim to satisfy. It should not include what is already done. I am working with the slums of Mumbai. I will not say so XYZ has already worked. No, no, no. I'm not concerned with XYZ. I am concerned about me, what my research is carried on. So I will say what my research will do. What you are going to do it in future. Never ever start your objective. I'm not talking of research paper. I'm talking of a research proposal to study this. Why to study this? They will fund you money. No, always write to investigate. Or you can also write to determine. You're trying to find out something. Always write to develop so that they become inquisitive. Yes, what is a researcher trying to develop? To solve. Solving is a very important question. You're trying to find out a solution. So never, you should be very, very particular about the words which you use. You should be very logical and very, very specific. Research, the main characteristics of a research is that you are very, very logical and specific. You know, if you really see, there is hardly any difference between a great researcher and a one-time researcher. No, only a great researcher knows how to pinpoint that pin, ek pin kaise jata hai, and a one-time researcher thinks at a bigger level. Yes, I will do this only, I will do that only, I will do this only. Yes, no, no, no. So you have to be very, very pinpointed in your research. Your objectives should be neither too many or too less. Your objective should not be in a paragraph. It should be in a limited small sentences. Your objectives should be such which are achievable. Our objective should be such which is measurable. Take for example, when I was applying for my research on Impress, there was a fellow participant from IIT. He wanted to do, so when I asked him what is his research about, he wanted to do how technology can be developed in Leh and Ladakh. And that time Leh and Ladakh was already having a problem. Now I was wondering how this man will actually solve the problem of Leh and Ladakh when you cannot visit that area. So you something which you are doing which is not achievable, which is not measurable. So how can you expect that a funding agency will invest money on you? Never ever. So try to find out such problems which you are confident about and which is achievable and measurable. So now we know the research objective. We have started we have done the title, we have done the abstract, all the working one. We know the introduction where we have included the conceptual background, where we have also included a little bit of why of my research. Then I really come to the problem statement. And very nicely and intelligently, I have done my research objectives, and then comes development of a hypothesis or research question. Now what are these research questions and hypotheses? They're nothing, but they are some assumptions which need to be proved. So you should explain what is expected to occur. And whenever you do, you develop a hypothesis, it should be testable, it should be measurable. Not only that, in a hypothesis, you should always have a dependent and an independent variables very, very clearly defined. That is, null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis should be very, very clear. Then only you can accept one and you can reject the other one. So as I said, as a researcher, you should always be knowing about the independent variable and the dependent variable. And sometimes, you know, we have a trouble in remembering them. So actually you should remember that independent variables are causes a change, but dependent variable does not cause a change. Let us understand with a small example. Suppose I am studying about the time spent studying causes a change in test score. So we see time spent studying must be an independent variable, but test score is a dependent variable. At the end, we will understand if the studying time is more, the test score also rises. If the studying time is less, the test scores falls. So time spent studying is an independent variable, whereas a test score becomes a dependent variable. Due to paucity of time, this is what maximum I could speak of a hypothesis. So generally we have a null and an alternative hypothesis, and I have taken up an example which is very near and dear to all our teaching faculty. And so what is my null hypothesis? The number of lectures attended by the first year students has no effect on the exam score, but the number of lectures attended by the first year student has a positive effect on the final exam score. So this way you can develop your null and alternative hypothesis. So we are doing an abstract, we are doing making a research proposal, so that that research proposal can get me funds. And what I'm talking today is a most common method, most common accepted method, a model how to make a research proposal. So we already made the project title, working one. We already made the abstract, a working one, introduction, which included my concepts, which I will be using, if any, why of my research in short. Then I've come to the problem. Then I've made the research objective. And after making the research objective, I have developed research, research questions or hypothesis. Now I come to review of literature. Now, what is this review of literature? Review of literature is just not reading the books and journals about who has studied about this topic previously. It is just, it is a survey of the scholarly sources. It provides us an idea that who has studied about the same topic and in what way. So whenever the first time researchers, whenever you're doing a review of literature, you should divide the review of literature into local review of literature, national level of literature, and then an international level of literature. You can also make a table as I'm showing in the screen, like a researcher name, the date of publication, the name of the paper or the name of the book, the name of the website, whatever you do. And the publication is catering of yours, which objective? Just now we have developed the research objective, which objective of yours? First objective, second objective, third objective. So when you get the list, you know, it becomes much more easier when you write a literature review. A literature review is a must for a research proposal. It will gives you the backbone of a research proposal. You can say that so many people have already studied about the topic which I'm dealing into, but they have not studied in the way in which I will be studying. You are different, and that is why your research needs to be funded. So whenever you are conducting a literature review, you should try to fill up the gap. For example, I'm studying about the traffic congestion in Mumbai. When I looked up into the literature review, I found that there are many researchers who have worked in Delhi about the traffic congestion in Delhi, traffic congestion in Asansol, traffic congestion in Gwalior, but quite sadly, they have hardly studied about the traffic congestion in Greater Mumbai. So that became my area of interest. And I have a geographical background. I could easily study about the traffic congestion in Greater Mumbai. I took up that research, and I have a proof that yes, in so many places, traffic congestion has been studied, but in Greater Mumbai, it is not studied. So there is a gap, and my research is filling up this gap. Whenever you're able to prove that your research is filling up a gap, you are a successful researcher. Any funding agency, whether it is local, national, or at international level, will definitely fund because you are trying to fill up the gap. So literature review is also a way by which your others' work should be acknowledged. I cannot be the first one who is studying about traffic congestion. There are many more. So we have to acknowledge their work. And moreover, from the literature review only, you can get the gap statement. And gap statement is always negative inform. You should say, nobody has studied about my research. Never it has been studied about my research. And I am trying to fill it up. So here lies the importance of the research. Actually, literature review should be studied in such a manner as if you're building up the literature from the past, coming to the present, and then you are saying what you will be doing as a future. So you're linking the past, present, and future. If we can link it in this manner, this grant is to be given because you will be the one who will be studying about the future. You will always pinpoint the gap. If you're able to pinpoint, like I have pinpointed, in Greater Mumbai, there is no work on traffic congestion. That means what? I am pinpointing the gap. I am telling I will be the one now who will study about the traffic congestion in Mumbai. So if I am able to pinpoint, everybody will pay you for your research, because this research not only has a policy implication, not only will solve the problem of the Mumbaikars, not only will help in societal development, economic development, but you will be the only one to study about it. So you will definitely get paid for it. So now we are almost done with the research proposal. Project title, although we have not finalized. Abstract, we have not finalized. Introduction, we have done with conceptual background and a little bit of why we have just touched upon. We have done the problem statement. We have developed the research objective. We have developed the hypothesis also. And literature review we have done. From the literature review, I could take out a fantastic point, that is the gap in the research. And then I say I will be fulfilling that gap, and hence my research became so important to others. But now, what is the methodology? How will you do it? That how will be answered from a research methodology. Whenever you are writing a research methodology for your proposal, you should always say a coverage. For example, I said in Greater Mumbai. So that is my coverage. Or you just can't do your research in the air. There should be an area. Data sources, from where do we get the secondary data? Data collection. If you have primary data, how will you collect the primary data? If you have, once you have collected the primary data and secondary data, how will you analyze the data? Which software will you use to analyze the data? You should be very clear on your research objective, methodology. I call research methodology as the heart of the research. If your heart is not there, human being cannot function. If your methodology is not there, only problem, everyone knows there is a problem, but you should say how to solve that problem. So that is the heart of the research. And this methodology will tell you how to achieve the objectives. See, I told you your objectives should be measurable. They should be achievable. So who will say that whether it is achievable or not? Your methodology will speak. And you should always try to pinpoint the methodology you are using to solve the problem is the best technique. You are the best in that field, and hence money should be given to you. You should be very, very confident about that. So we are almost done with the heart and nerve and core of the research. We know the title, we know the abstract, introduction, conceptual background, little bit of why, a problem statement, research objective, hypothesis, literature review, research method. Now you're trying to say how your research proposal is unique in nature, how your research proposal is not a good research proposal, how it is a great research proposal. So now, to innovativeness does not mean every one of us will become Newton. No, it is not like that. But innovativeness means in a literature review, you could find up the gaps and you are trying to solve that gap, which no one has done it before. That is new. So just like a picture here, which I've shared in the screen, you are looking at a problem which no one else has looked into it. Every one of us see something, but you are looking at it in a different manner, and that is innovativeness. So you always, everyone has got whatever research we do, be it for a paper, conference, you know, I always feel whenever you do a research, you should do it with the same enthusiasm, the same zeal, whether you're working for a major research, minor research, or a conference paper, you should have the same importance to it, because you yourself is trying to solve a problem, and you have to be innovative. You have to say how your research is different from others. There is no point doing the same thing which others are also doing. So we know the title: abstract, introduction, problem, objective, review of literature, methodology. You also innovative, how your research proposal is so very different from others. And now is your implication of the research. You will be solving a problem, and that if you solve that problem, if that solution is brought up, who will be benefited? So always your research should be such, it should have some implication on the society, it should have some implication on the policy making. So there should be some impact of your research. Your impact of the research should improve the society, or the ideas which you give from your research should be incorporated in the policy makers. Now it can be at any level. It can be a micro level approach, macro level approach, but your research should have a contribution. You should say the amount in which they're investing on you will not go on a waste. Your research will not be just another piece of document, but your research, your solution will solve the societal problem. Your research, your solutions will bring a massive change in the policy making. So you will become a contributor, an agent of change. So that agent of change you have to bring. Maybe a line, but please do touch upon this. Now we come to a very important point: proposed budget. You know, when I did my first PhD in my primary subject of geography, I had spent quite a lot of time. I took 8 years to do my PhD. And what my guide, he's no more there, my guide always used to tell me that, Moushumi, when two things you have, you cannot be a researcher. And that is when you have lots of money to spend on your research, and you have lots of space for your research. You cannot have a proper research. Till today, I could not find out why he used to say that. But in today's point, when you have to carry on a proper research, you need money. And always it is not possible to do it with your own money. Moreover, it becomes much more prestigious. It is a credit not only to your academic development, but to the intellectual development of your subject. It becomes a credit for intellectual development of the institution, that you have a funded project. That now amount may be anything. It can be 8,000, it can be 80,000, or it can be 8 lakhs. Amount is not a most important thing, but the most important thing is that it has been recognized by the funding agency, that the proposal which you have given really has some base, and so they are ready to fund for it. So don't go by the amount, go whether it has been funded or not. So budget. So whenever we are doing a budget, we have to be very, very careful when we're doing a budget. When it is a major project, you should have a research staff. So whatever will be the total amount, that from the total amount, this is normally accepted all over the country, that it should not be more than 45% of the total amount. Field work should never be more than 35%. Equipment and study material, for example, if you want to buy a computer, a printer, whatever it may be, should not be more than 10% of the study material. And after your project is over, this equipment becomes the property of the college. Contingencies like xeroxing, printing, and so on should not be more than 5%. Publication should not be more than 5%. Institutional overheads are also there, like you are using the institutional cabin or a computer or internet, the AC machine. For that, the institution also gets some money from the funding agency, and that ranges from 5% to 7.5%. So this is an accepted percentage which you should have for your proposed budget. Never ever, if you exceed any one of them, your budget will not be accepted. You know, neither you can overrate your project nor you can underrate your project. So we are almost through, done the title, done the abstract, introduction, although title and abstract should always be looked upon at the end. Introduction, with conceptual background. Why I'm repeating this? So that at the end of the webinar, at least we know, every one of us know how to write a project. You don't have to go back to your literature again and again. A problem statement, you know, the objective, the hypothesis, the review of literature, from where you got the gap statement, from where you know what to do in your research, then you found out a methodology, and then you know the innovativeness of a research, implication of your research, and you also know the budget, that for what headings, what percentage you have to give. Time frame is also another very important factor. You should always tell the funding agency that whatever, when a funding agency funds you, for a minor research project, they give you 1 year. For major research project, they give you 2 years, or sometimes it is 3 years also. So you have to tell them that how you will be able to complete the proposal, complete their research. So the end, even if they don't ask, you should have to add a so-called Gantt chart. What is a Gantt chart? A Gantt chart tells us what work will you do when. See, you have the date and you have the work. So according to date, you can put what work will be done. And if your project is funded, later on when you send the progress report, you can easily mark them cross. That means you have already done them. Or otherwise you can mark them. If it is not done also, you can mark that it has not been done on time. So it tells that where of the research, that where are you standing of the research. This Gantt chart, it is a unique point of a research proposal. Although it is not touched upon by many, even in many other proposals, you will find that plan of work, time schedule, they do not want, but you should give a small chart. And this shows the how committed you are to your research. You have already jotted down that how your research will be done. Because if you do, for a research to be completed, you don't need to be a very great intellectual, but you need to be a very good planner. You should plan your research in a very important manner. Then only you can finish it on time. Reference is very important. You should always cite whatever work you have taken. You should choose a citation style, either it is MLA, APA, Chicago, it can be, but maintain that style all through the proposal. That is where, without a reference, a proposal has got no value. This is a point where we touch upon nowadays. It has to have a plagiarism tested. You can borrow somebody's work, that is not a problem, but you have to give credit to that someone. So even nowadays, proposals are plagiarism tested. If it is 10% and less, it is accepted. If not, it is not accepted. So my request will be to all the researchers here that whenever you give a research proposal, please do a plagiarism test, and then only along with the test result, you submit it to the funding agency. So what are the points to remember in a research proposal? We already have known the research proposal. It should be very, very concise, crisp, and original. You have to stick to the format, one after the format. You cannot change the sequence of the format. It has to be the same. Very particular about language and grammar. Very, very important, language and grammar. If your funding agency does not tell anything about the formatting, please do maintain Times New Roman. Font size should be 12 for the body and 14 for the headings. Line spacing should always be 1.5. Margin should be 2 inches in the left and 1.5 on the other side. This is the general formatting which is accepted internationally. This is very important for you to understand. So, still confused how to do a proposal? I'm sure we all know how to start a research proposal and how to go about it. But even if we follow this formatting, there are some common errors. You know, as academicians and teachers, we generally do lots of mistakes. Unknowingly also we do lots of errors. It's not a mistake, it's an error. So how to avoid such errors in a research proposal? Because when a research proposal goes, it goes forever. So it should have minimum number of errors in your proposal. Always make sure that your research fits in the mission of the funding agency. Your funding agency is talking about, as I said, about the transdisciplinary research, and you are talking about a research in nuclear physics. Don't do that. See the research properly, the mission of the research of the funding agency, and then only you start writing your proposal, and then only apply if you feel your research fits in the mission of the funding agency. Otherwise, don't spoil your name. Never rush. Proposal takes a long time. Proposal kabhi bhi 15 din mein hota nahi hai. Never. You should never do that. Think and do, find out a problem, ask yourself so many questions. To be a good researcher, you need to be very slow. You cannot have a hush in a research. Don't ask for too much money, neither too little money. Don't never ever ignore the instructions given by the funding agency. Don't try to write everything in a proposal. If you write everything in a proposal, what are you going to write in a real research? No. Now, margins, as I said, don't make them too narrow, and don't make the fonts too small so that you can write more things. No, don't do that. Figures and tables, if you're giving, don't make it very small. Neither you make it of low resolution. If you make it of very low resolution, it will not serve your purpose. They will never be able to see. Now, sometimes, for when you're applying for a major research project, they ask you, what are your credentials? How much paper have you published? That time, please don't cite paper in preparation, paper submitted. No, a paper in preparation, a paper submitted has got no value unless or until it is published. So always cite, whether it is yours or others, the published papers only. So what you should do, download the complete proposal. Use the correct format. As I said, if they provide the format, follow that. If not, the format which I have given. Please proof check before submission. Make sure everything is legible. Follow all the instructions properly. Submission procedure should be very, very careful. So proposal writing is not only the bunches of books which you read. They will not see whether you have read 1,000 books or 10 books, but you should be very particular when you write, and that particularness you will get when you actually know these points very, very well. Main thing I always find, read all the instructions very, very carefully. If the principal investigator, they feel cannot follow the, cannot follow the instructions of a proposal. If in a proposal only you show that instructions are not followed, then in a research, what will you do? So they will never fund you. If you see the picture which I have given you, how is a review? For funding, so many, you see, so in a basket it is there, which is not to be funded. In a tray it is there, which may be funded. And then you see it has become so less, which is actually funded. For major research projects of ICSSR, IMPRESS and all, only perhaps 2% or 3% is funded. So you have to be in that 2%, 3%. So you have to read all instructions. You have to be very, very alert when you write a research proposal. Now take, for example, IMPRESS, as I said, has STRIDE, as I said, of UGC has got the mission like this: to provide, identify young talent, strengthen the research culture, build capacity, promote innovation, support transdisciplinary research. So your research should be one which has got all these points properly, which actually fits in. Then only you can do, it will be funded, otherwise it will not be funded. Always the agency will like to know what is your approach. So be very clear with the methodology. The agency will try to know that why is this important to the research community? If you really come out with this research, how will it help the research community? Not only that, how will it benefit the society? So you see, the review committee, is formed of intellectual people in your area, and so they always brainstorm with your research proposal. See in the picture how they're doing. Agreed, we fund only those proposals we can understand. Some proposals are they are so tough, they use such words that reviewers don't follow. It will never ever be funded. Keep simple. If you still have questions, suppose or whatever instructions when given you could not understand, so there is a contact number in every website. That is a program officer's number. You can always email and phone the program officer. Whenever you email and phone the program officer, you should be very, very clear. You should know the research objective. You should know the mission of the agency, because these are the questions which can come. So when he asks you some question, it does not happen that you fumble. It should not. You keep the proposal in front of you and then give a call or whatever you do, so that you become very clear in when you speak with him. There are certain questions which are never to be asked to the program officer. Whenever you have applied for a research project, you can't ring up the agency and ask, will you fund my research? Do you think my research is a good topic? What research topic do you think I should work on? What are my odds of being funded? Never ever ask these questions. These questions are not to be asked. Then sometimes we generally ask, if I send a copy of my proposal to you, do you think that my proposal can be funded? Then you can ask, sometimes people ask, why proposals was not funded? Now, can I resubmit it? Then they ask, who are the reviewers who said no to my research proposal? These fatal mistakes you are not supposed to give. That is not the only agency who is providing you money. If your research proposal is not funded, let it not be funded. You can you ask question to yourself why your research proposal was not funded, where actually you went wrong, and then review it, improvise it, and send to some other agency. That is not the problem at all. Always, reviewers would like to know what is your objective, what is your methodology, how will you do it. So always be very, very clear on such ideas. So what are some closing advices which I'd like to share with every one of you? That some of us feel very ashamed, or sometimes we are very embarrassed, for asking money, as if we are promoting ourselves. But the most important thing to keep in mind is that it never hurts to ask. You can always ask money. You can never ask for the money, and if you never ask, they will never give you. And moreover, the worst thing that can happen here is that they will not take your job. They will not do anything. They will just say a no. That is fine. Here I always say, in science, the greatest question in science is that, when is the next grant coming? When is my research proposal getting funded? And I always think, when I do such work, I always think of Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar has played for India 700 innings. In that 700 innings, he has made, I think, 100 centuries. So in 600 innings, he has not done. But in 100 innings, he has made. So that's why we remember him as a great player. Even we can be a great researcher. It's not that anywhere and everywhere we ask for, we will be getting it. Maybe 700 research proposals we will send, but only 100 of our research proposals will be accepted. We send 5 research proposals, maybe 1 will be accepted. That is absolutely fine. That does not mean you're a bad researcher or you're a good researcher. Maybe your problem or your way of treating that problem was not acceptable to others. That is absolutely fine. You can always make another proposal. By making another proposal, you only grow as a researcher. So what is the end note? The end note is that we are all ready to make a research proposal to the agencies which I had mentioned. So I wish a good luck in the preparation of our funding proposals, and I'm sure all of us will succeed. So in this presentation, I've touched upon the funding agencies, some common funding agencies for conferences, a model structure of a research proposal, which can be a roadmap, and some common errors which unknowingly we do. It's good luck to all our researchers. I'm grateful to the college once again for inviting me for this talk. Thank you to all. Over to you, Nimi madam.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Moushmi madam. I don't know how to express our gratitude. It was really informative, madam, inspiring, enriching, I don't know. And so many appreciations are pouring in, so many queries are pouring in.
I have actually, I've taken, I think.
I know. Even I was noticing that. So, should I move on to get to the question answer, whatever has not been covered? Yeah, can we? Yeah, ma'am. One query is, can we approach for funds for research and studies through corporate data management, Ministry of Corporate Affairs?
Yes, we can, but you should see the website and see whether they are providing or not.
Right.
If they are providing, is very critical. This year, funds of many ministries and corporates has become less, but you can always go to the website and find out.
Right. Okay.
Many MNCs also, they provide for industrial projects also they provide.
They may fund. Okay.
You have to go to the website and see.
Website and find it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, ma'am, another query is, which funding agency actually responds promptly?
No one. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. But you have to be, the other word of research is patience.
Patience and follow up.
Yes. Right. And we have a long career now. We can wait.
We can, right, obviously. Then another query, you have already answered it. Any limitation on the number of words for writing an abstract? I feel it is 10% of the total
10%,
words.
yes.
Right. Another one is how to get a plagiarism certificate for international research studies or international publications.
Plagiarism certificates, you see, the many colleges are now having license for plagiarism, right? Plagiarism, US, okay. So college does not have, you can approach the nearby colleges which are having the plagiarism software. So the research paper can be tested. But I'd like to add here online testing, although sometimes we don't have any option, we go for online testing. But in the online testing is not that proper.
Okay.
Moreover, your data gets added to the cloud. So then whenever you go for a real licensed software, that comes plagiarism. So there are many hiccups on
online plagiarism.
Turnitin is the best software by which you can do plagiarism testing.
Okay, Turnitin. Right. Okay. Another query is, ma'am, should all researchers start with hypothesis?
It's not that. It can be research question also. I put a stroke mark. But a question should be there. If a question is not there, what are you solving?
There should be a problem, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Another one is, what actually should the conclusion include? Conclusion of
here you will not have a conclusion, because unless and until you complete your research, it does not have a conclusion.
Right.
Here we are concluding with the plan of work, the time and the budget.
Okay.
Research paper where the research is already done.
Included.
Have a conclusion. Here you cannot have, because you're not giving a solution. We are only asking for money for problems to be solved.
Right. Then what is the criteria on which funding is done? Whether it is only for science topics, commerce subjects, or is it for humanities?
No, commerce, social science, everywhere. We are getting funds. Yes.
Okay. Then is there any limit on which funds are being sanctioned? What is the maximum limit or something like that?
No. They have no minor research should be for 1 lakh to 3 lakh. Depends upon year-to-year budgetary proposals.
Budgetary provision.
And major is still 15 lakhs they give.
Okay.
They have the barcodes.
Okay. Then, madam, there is a query for unaided teachers. What are the sources to get funds?
Unaided also, University of Mumbai is giving, unaided.
Unaided.
Even Maharashtra State Women Commission is giving.
Okay.
Even this one, your UGC has also started its Stride program. Unaided teachers can apply.
Unaided teachers can apply. Okay.
Yes.
So I hope this will
Only
be
your
applicable.
institution should be UGC recognized.
Recognized 2B and 12F, right?
Yes.
There is a query on that. Are the colleges
because
without
as an
12?
individual you cannot apply, no?
No, you have to write.
Your organization should be approved by UGC, then you can get.
Right, because there is a query specifically whether the colleges without 2F and 12B will get funded.
No.
Right,
There is a problem there, Most
Okay.
UGC, ICSSR, they don't fund.
Right. Then another
There
query.
are many limitations actually, certain
Right.
limitations are not in our hands.
Right. Many things, right. Another query is once a project is sanctioned, how much time it takes to get the fund?
For a
You
minor,
have already
generally,
answered.
for fund to come 2 to 3 months by fund.
Fund to come. 2 to 3 months. Okay. Okay.
Installments, no? First installment,
Right.
you have to send them the progress report according to Gantt chart. That is why Gantt chart is so important. That
Right.
and how much you have completed. Once you complete that 70% of the fund, and if it is successful, then they send the second fund.
Okay.
It is an installment. They will not give you the full money. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Then another query is which agencies provide fund for languages and literature?
UGC, ICSSR, everywhere it provides.
UGC, right. Okay.
ICSSR, yes. They provide.
Okay. Then one more query is that which would be the most accepted plagiarism check report?
I said no, turn it in.
You told. Right. So these were the queries, and so many appreciations are pouring in, and everyone is actually appreciating like anything, and they are demanding for the PPTs also. If possible, please share the PPTs.
I will.
Please, madam. Okay, so that we can share it in the group, so that it will be useful for the researchers also.
Yes, definitely.
Right? Okay. So, Shagun madam, Arya madam?
Yeah. It was an amazing and a very, very informative session, Moshmi madam. And I really appreciate the sincerity with which you have, presented it. And, you have been so simple. That is the best part of your presentation. Simple, you said, yet very elaborate and very, very clear. I don't see anything anywhere, any gaps which are left. And which would be left and any doubts which are not catered to. Yes, I'm so grateful to you, and we look forward to further more interactions.
It was an appreciation.
Very nice.
Well appreciated.
Again, once
Arya
again,
madam, please.
Midas touch to the topic. Midas touch to the topic.
Right.
I'm not able to hear her.
Achha, 1 minute.
Ma'am, anybody who can help out?
Hello?
I'm not very clear about what.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Arya madam.
Can
Audible.
you hear me now? Can you hear?
Yes.
Moshmi, once again you have given Midas touch to the topic.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I keep telling everybody, like howsoever the dry topic is, she will turn it into very interesting.
Your appreciation is a motivation, madam.
मिट्टी को भी सोना बना सकती है.
अरे बाप रे. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Moshmi. Yeah. And I really appreciate the hard work you take up to do anything.
Thank you. If I'm able to serve the purpose, but I'm also satisfied.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that should be the spirit. And go ahead always like this. Yeah.
Thank you for your blessings.
Wish you all the best, Moshmi ma'am.
Yes, all the best. Yeah.
All the best in your
So again, with some other topic.
Yeah, surely.
Monday I have one more, na?
Okay, where you are having?
Pednikasar's College in I forgot, it's outside Mumbai. I forgot the place.
Okay, send us the flyer. We'll register.
Yeah. I will do.
What's the topic there?
It is only on research paper for conferences.
Okay, great.
Not for proposals.
Good, yeah.
Like here, conclusion will be added.
Okay. Research papers.
Yeah, research papers only, technical research papers.
That is going to be great, I know.
Maybe something to think about, applying for international conferences and something unique about your national conference. I think that those aspects will be added in that.
Yeah. UGC, and actually now Impress is also giving quite a lot of money for conferences.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
And it is Impress is open throughout the year. You can go to the website ICSSR Impress.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Very nice.
So that was really wonderful, madam. So now we'll come to the part of formal vote of thanks. So now we have come to the end of this lively, enriching virtual gathering. I can add so many adjectives over here. It was enriching, it was enlightening, it was delighting, marvelous, wonderful. It was excellent, madam, ultimately. So prior to winding up, a few words of appreciation for all those who have made this possible. The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. It should be felt by heart. Thank you is one of such prayer among them. So first of all, I would like to propose our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Maushmi Datta Madam, an eminent academician with immense research and academic experience, for delivering an enriching and enlightening session on funding for research projects and conferences. You had covered almost everything, beginning from the title, abstract, conceptual background, problem statement, and ending in the plagiarism. Once you are coming out of your publication and you ended in plagiarism. And it was really wonderful. It was systematic, organized, you can say, and the energy and the enthusiasm that you showed, madam, that was really, and it was really inspiring for every academician to become an excellent researcher. So now everyone must be feeling that you can also be an excellent researcher. So it was really
yes, everyone can become.
Right. And the presentation also, madam, the PPTs also were very capturing. I mean, each and every slide was excellent, and you had put your efforts like anything. So thank you so much for your simple and lucid explanation. So thank you so much, madam, for your valuable presence and for sharing your immense knowledge.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much, madam. Then I would like to mention a sincere gratitude to Sri K.G.Mittal ji, Honorable Secretary of Marwari Vidyalaya Trust, our chief patron, who has always provided his extensive support in all our academic endeavors. Thank you so much, Sri K.G.Mittal ji and Sujata Mittal ji, madam. And we are fortunate enough to be backed by our beloved director, Dr. Suhasini Arya madam, and our principal, Dr. Shagun Srivastava madam. So I also wish to express our heartfelt thanks to Arya madam and Shagun madam for their valuable guidance and encouragement in conducting this webinar. A big thank you to the organizing team for their well-coordinated support, for Mamta madam. And I also should mention a deep sense of appreciation for the technical team, Shubhangi madam, for making this possible. And I would like to place on record a deep sense of gratitude to the esteemed participants, academicians from various institutions whose presence have added value and meaning to today's session. So we thank you all for being with us. It has been a great pleasure today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So, madam, bye. Shagun madam, bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you again virtually. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, ma'am. So with the kind permission of Arya madam and Shagun madam, we can declare this as concluded.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.